Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new podcast. My name is JJ Vola. Alongside here is my co-host, Cal. Today, we have another special guest as we have Victoria on our podcast. Victoria, give us a brief description of what you do and your job description.
So I am a recreational therapist, and I'm also a content creator on TikTok and Instagram.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. We look forward to diving in exactly everything that you do. Stay tuned to the end of the video or podcast. But let's talk about the journey as to, coming out of high school, some of your younger years of working, jobs, stuff like that. What did you do in your younger years?
So out of high school, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. Career-wise, it was really not on my radar. The only thing that I really knew that I was going to do when I left high school is I was going to get married and have kids. That's a lot of women, I think, especially back, when I was graduating. I graduated high school in 2004. So that was the only thing I kind of knew. But I knew I had to have a job and I had to go out and work. So I went to Mohawk College for 2 years and I took office administration. So after that, I graduated and I worked in a law firm for 10 years.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
So I did that for 10 years and it was an okay job. I was good at it. Working for lawyers, just kind of pushing paper and writing letters and that kind of thing.
So you probably know a lot of legal stuff. In
I
case
do.
Anybody wants to.
Yes, I do have a bit of a legal background. I worked a little bit in plaintiffs, so people get in car accidents, plaintiff work, and then I moved to insurance defense, and I did that for the last half of my career with that. And then during that time, I actually did get married, and I had kids.
Oh,
so
great.
Congrats.
yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
during that time, I kind of, did what I thought I was going to do. And then after I had my third child, I went on maternity leave from my job. And at that point, it really didn't make much sense for me to go back to work having 3 kids. My ex-husband at the time, he made enough money that I could stay home and do the stay-at-home mom thing. So I did that for a little while, and just a little while, because I'm not the kind of stay-at-home type person.
Right.
I really didn't enjoy just staying at home and cooking and cleaning, and it's not my jam. It might be some other people's forte.
Stay
and
at home, put their feet up, watch some
stay
TV.
at home dads, stay at home moms, whatever, that might have some feel like you have purpose or fulfillment with that.
Right.
For me, I just wanted more from a career. So actually I started my own life coaching business at that time.
Oh,
so
cool.
This was just before COVID in 2019. I started a life coaching business, and it was called Awaken Be Mama, and it was just a hobby business at first. I started making content and marketing myself, doing everything myself. I got a bunch of clients, and it was going really well. I really enjoyed it. I loved coaching. I created a 6-step program.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the coaching for, particularly?
So it was life coaching. So my program basically really just dived into finding out why you do what you do, your patterns and your habits and why you think the way that you do. So it was really kind of just diving in and focusing on setting goals and getting to be that person that you want to be. So I would work with my clients and they would say, I'm struggling with this. I want to be here, but I'm here. And I was just there to help them close that gap.
Wow.
see.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the examples of some people that would come to you with problems that they would have?
So I worked a lot with women because that was kind of what I was familiar with at the time. I kind of took my life coaching clients through what I went through.
Okay.
I was a stay-at-home mom, and I wanted more for myself. I wanted to find out what I was passionate about, what just lit me up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was helping my clients with. They came to me because they're like, I don't know what to do. I have no passion. I have no drive. I don't know what I want to do. So that was really what my program kind of focused on, was helping these women go from kind of not having any direction or drive and then figuring out where they want to be.
Almost like finding your purpose, or people are talking about finding your why.
Yes.
Why are we here?
Right.
What's our purpose on this earth? What are we trying to leave behind? What's our legacy? All that kind of stuff. And it's super hard for a lot of people to especially in this world, you can do a million different things. What am I really here and supposed to do? So that's really cool that you do that for people.
Yeah, it was really rewarding. I think everybody kind of has to have a little bit of a purpose. If you kind of wake up every day and you don't have anything to do, you're going to feel lost eventually.
Right.
Maybe for the first little while, you might be like, oh, it's nice doing nothing. But most of the time you're going to, you're going to start to kind of get in your head and, you need a purpose. Like I think
Right.
everybody could I value purpose and drive in life. So yeah.
And I think the hard part too is everybody wants to do everything nowadays. You know, they see it on social media, like, ooh, I could do that, or I want to do that, and then it's just you want to achieve it, or you want to start up a new business because you think that's like the right move financially, whatever the case is. But I think it just people need to understand, stick with what you're good at, what you love, what you're passionate about, and people just need to hone in. Cal and I are terrible for that because we both have ADHD.
ADHD,
Yeah.
Well,
So we want to achieve in everything. We always beat ourselves up, but we're always on each other for motivating each other too. So having that life coach for someone that, you know, if they're listening, you know, if you need that someone in your life to boost you, go find it, you know?
Yeah, totally. Like it is hard to narrow in on something, right? And that's why I think consistency is a really big thing too. Like you have to find out what you love to do and what you're passionate about, but you also have to take those steps to get to where you want to be. And that takes discipline, consistency, like so many different other things that come into getting there, right? And monetizing what it is that you love to do.
Right.
Like, that's a whole different thing. So
And how much would you charge like per client, or like what was the
so
average?
I had packages. So I had like a 3-tiered package system where each level was like more contact with me.
Okay.
So like my top tier package was $400 a month. And I would text message with them every day. We would have meetings once a week over Zoom or in person. And it was just like more contact with, and then I had like lower programs that were less a month, that were just a little less, like I wouldn't text them all day or.
Well, it's good to know just in case somebody ever wanted to be, like if somebody has that leadership idea role that wants to get into some sort of leadership, just to know like what it could cost per month to charge clients, even from a starting point.
For sure. And like that was in 2019. This was all pre-COVID too. Like this was all before COVID.
Sure.
And the thing with life coaching too is like life coaching is not like a regulated profession. So anybody can just kind of walk up and call themselves a life coach. So if you are somebody who wants to find a life coach, just make sure you do your research on that person, or talk to people who have used that person so that they're legit. And because it's not a regulated profession. You can take courses, like I took a life coaching course through Tony Robbins, and I don't know who that is, but
actually my mom's doing it right now, so
like I love Tony Robbins. That was actually like I what kind of started the whole like life coaching thing. Like I found what I was passionate about because I was doing a lot of meditation, I was doing a lot of yoga, and really just focusing on myself. And then I really just started, I was like a sponge. I was just like reading everything. And I had a lot of little epiphanies and realizations. My self-awareness just grew like exponentially.
Right.
So I became much more aware of myself and what was like, oh, this is what I need to do. Because like, I just feel it, like I just feel it in my bones that it was like meant for me.
Sure.
So so it was like, I don't know, like that.
And you probably get like a thrill or it's a good feeling also too when you get that person that's like, oh my god, thank you. Or, they're so happy that they found you in that sense. So it probably is like your own high every month, right?
It was great. Like I got as much out of it as my clients did. Like, or at least I hope they did. Like the feedback I got was great from all the clients that I worked with. When I first started too, like I was doing life coaching for free with clients because you're starting out and you need some experience. And I was like, hey, like I'll offer you this service for free and we can work together. And then once I got a few clients for free and I got comfortable with it, then I was like, okay, now I kind of feel more comfortable charging for my services. A little bit of imposter syndrome there, right?
Yeah,
where you're like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Am I qualified? All these questions you like doubt yourself. But I was just like, no, I'm going to go for it and just do it. So
actually, I'm reading a book right now, Power of Groundedness, and that was one thing that they were saying in the book was that there's good coaches and there's great coaches. The great coaches are going to be the ones that actually are going to start the speech or when they walk in, say, you know what, I don't have all the answers, instead of being the life coach that says I have the answers. No one's perfect at the end of the day, and the more vulnerable you are to your clients or your people, everyone thinks you have to know all the answers, but no one in this world knows all the answers.
And I think that's the beauty thing. Like I really value life coaches. I think there is a lot of value in that profession. It should be regulated, I think, but because you're not as a life coach, you're not showing up and telling this person what to do. You're just there to be their sounding board. You're just there for them to bounce their stuff off of you and kind of be that rock for them and be that person that can kind of guide them a little bit and just ask them questions. You know, they'd be like, I'm this and that. And then, you know, you just ask them, well, what about this? And just get those wheels turning for them, right? And let them figure it out. Like you're there to help them figure it out.
Right.
I think it's, at the end of the day, even just like listening to someone, you know, letting them like talk, like they can almost figure out their own answers. You know, if you let them talk long enough, to like, you know what, like I actually know the answer to this. I just need to like figure it out, work through it, right? Have someone listen to, you know, what these problems are and whatnot. So that's so cool.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is like you know the answer deep down somewhere. You know what you need to do. Like if you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. You do know what to do. Yeah. There's just blocks and there's things and you can't see the right path right away. But eventually, like you said, you just talk or you do what you need to do and you'll figure it out.
Yeah. And sometimes some people just need a little push too.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone gets in their head. And then even this podcast, I mean, starting this podcast took a couple months because you're like, is it going to be good? You know, is there's going to be failures. People are going to judge us. At the end of the day, like we have a passion, and this is exciting to not only us to network and meet new people, but also too to inspire people that are looking for like a job, career, professions. And there's so many different ways to make money as we're getting more and more advanced in the digital world.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And are you still doing the life coaching?
So yeah. So like I said, this was all pre-COVID.
Okay.
And then COVID happened, and that just rocked everybody, including myself.
Right.
So I was doing really well. Two of my children were in school. My littlest guy I had him in daycare a few days a week, so I was starting to devote more time to my coaching. And it was, rolling really great. And then COVID happened. School shut down. Now I have all 3 kids home. My ex-husband was essential, so he was still going to work all the time, and I just could not keep up with the demands of being a mom to 3 kids every day and my clients. So I ended up having to let my clients go. It was a really tough decision because, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I loved it. But at that point, things were changing so rapidly, like that I was like, I need to just focus on my family and myself right now. Like I can't even barely keep us, feeling good. How can I coach somebody else? It's not fair to my client. It wasn't fair to my clients to continue that. So I ended up letting my clients go.
And just curious, how many clients did you have at the time, roughly?
I had 4 clients at the time because it was just me, right? And like that was about all I could handle per week, and they were all my top tier program. So I was texting like 4 people throughout the day and, meeting with them like throughout the week. It was a big juggling act. It was a lot to be, a mom and have all this and that. Yeah, it was a lot of work. So it was a really tough decision to shut that down. At the time, I had intentions of starting it back up once things kind of leveled out, but things like never really leveled out. Right. I just and then I kind of took a backseat in the career department and really focused on my personal life. And it was during that time, those like few years during COVID, that I ended up getting divorced, left my marriage, moved back into my parents' basement apartment with my kids. And then that's when I decided to go back to school to be a recreational therapist.
Wow.
Yeah. So I kind of realized after I did the coaching for about a year, so I had my life coaching business for about a year before I shut it down. It was a lot. Like, not only was I coaching these clients and sitting and having these coaching sessions, I was also doing all the marketing and doing all the financials and doing everything. And I really started to like resent that side of it, of being like an entrepreneur, of like doing all of that stuff. Maybe if I would have kept it going, maybe I could have outsourced some of those things. But for me, it was just a lot. And I was like, you know what? At this point in my life with young children, I don't think being an entrepreneur is for me. But I still loved the life coaching. So I looked at what careers were similar to life coaching. And I was like, and I didn't have any traditional schooling or education. Again, that imposter syndrome. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to take this time to really work on myself and work on my knowledge and expand my knowledge base. So then, like I said, I found rec therapy. And when I when I heard about this job, I had no idea what it was. When
Right.
someone was like, "Oh, recreation therapy," I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
I don't know what recreation therapy is.
I had to Google it.
Yeah.
I was like-
So I was like, "What is that?" And then I did some more research and found out I was like, "This is pretty similar to like it is similar to life coaching, depending on who you're working with." So I did like that aspect of rec therapy is that there's so many different types of people you can work with, different populations. My passion's in mental health. So yeah, like I decided to go back to school. I took the 2-year program at Mohawk and I just graduated. I actually have my graduation, my convocation is in a couple weeks. So
Wow.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
I
That's
just
so exciting.
graduated from the 2-year program, and I can't say enough great things about the program at Mohawk, the rec therapy program. If you're a student, if you're a high school student and you don't know what you want to do, take the rec therapy program because you learn a lot about yourself through this program. As much as you learn to help other people and you learn, ways to facilitate programs and design programs for people, you do learn a lot about yourself through the program. So that was one thing, like if I could say to anybody, like if you don't know what you want to do, I would take that program because you will learn a lot about yourself.
And what's the cost roughly to that?
For the program at Mohawk, it was about $3 or $4 grand per year.
Per year.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's with books and all the stuff that
Those
you need?
books and everything, yeah.
Because I guess you
Yeah.
would have had to do it online. Or was it in...
So when I started the program in, I signed up, when did I start? 2020? 2021. We were half online and half in person.
Okay.
So some of my courses were online, and then I was at school some of the times. And then by the time now that I've just graduated, we were full in person. Even our exams and everything was in person. Like now things are back to normal. Like I was doing this all during COVID, right? Which is it was challenging for sure. But I thankfully, I am somebody who can learn asynchronously. I don't need to sit in a classroom and be taught the material. Like I can just be given the material and I can absorb it and learn it. So it was fine for me to be online. But yeah, it's a great program. You get so many extra training too, on top of just your diploma for being a rec therapist. You get all this extra training. Like we get training in dementia and safe talk, mental health training, mental health first aid. You just get so many extra trainings along the way. It's really beneficial.
Cool. Now, there are different levels and different tiers of therapy. Do you know them all by chance, or
Of therapy in general?
Yeah, because isn't there different types of therapy?
Yeah, so there's psychotherapy, there's physical therapy, there's rec therapy, there's massage therapy. There's all different types of therapy. It just depends, right? Like physical therapy, physiotherapists, people are working with their body, right? You're getting that person back to functional physical levels. There's occupational therapists who their goal is to get them back to work, or back to regular daily living. So occupational therapists are working with outfitting your house. Like say you get in a car accident and you can't do certain things, so they'll bring in assistive devices to help you regain your independence, to get you back to where you want to be. An occupational therapist does that, right? Massage therapists, they're just muscles and they massage you. And so there's and then psychotherapy is just laying on the couch and that kind of thing. So it's rec therapy. The difference between that is because I tell people I'm a rec therapist and they're like, oh, so you're a physiotherapist? I'm like, no, sometimes. The thing with the rec therapists is we work with all 5 domains of health. Spiritual, emotional, mental, all the domains, social, behavioral, we touch on all of them. So like I said, it depends where you work. I was working recently at Joseph Brant Hospital. I was working in the inpatient unit there, the mental health inpatient unit. And a lot of our programs, we would do art programs with them. We partnered with the Art Gallery of Burlington, and we would take the patients over there and we would run art programs. I would run singing programs, dance programs. And then one of my babies was I created a 4-week program walking through these patients was on motivation. So that's really where my again, it goes back to my life coaching and creating programs. I really like to focus on mindfulness and the mental aspect of things. So that program I created was called Master Your Motivation. And it was a leisure education program teaching people about motivation and how to cultivate it, the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, like what motivates you, finding out what motivates you, and then how to cultivate that motivation and grow it. So yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, like, but we're kind of multifaceted. Like we learn to facilitate lots of different types of programs because it depends who you're working with. Like I have a lot of friends who've graduated and they're working in long-term care homes. So they're working with geriatric population. And a lot of those people are not really looking to set goals and accomplish things in life. They've lived their full life. They're looking to enhance their quality of life, right? So a lot of the rec therapists that work in long-term care homes are, just enhancing quality of life. So making, programs, bringing in entertainment for them and taking them out on outings and going places and just enhancing quality of life. So yeah.
Wow, really cool.
Yeah.
Jeez, I was just thinking. I mean, is this something you would have to go and work in an office to do? Do you work from home doing it? Like, how can you implement being a recreational therapist?
So I think that was a huge struggle for rec therapists during COVID because to be a really great rec therapist, you have to be in person. You have to connect with the people that you're working with. You have to be there with them. I think some rec therapists, we adapted and did a lot of online programming. So, people would sign on to a Zoom and there would be like karaoke, or we would do, play some sort of like name game or do trivia or something like that online. We kind of did what we could.
Right.
So you could do rec therapy from, virtually, but it doesn't hit the same.
It's not the same.
It does not hit the same. It's definitely a job that's very hands-on. You're engaging with people, and that's why I went into the profession, because I went from a job where I sat at a desk all day, typing on a computer. I'm like, no, I want to be like up, engaging with people and talking with people, and even just doing one-to-ones with people, and sitting with them in their rooms and talking with them about helping them set goals. And so it is a really personal, interpersonal job.
Sure.
Yeah.
And who do you work with mainly? Like, is it teenagers, young adults, young professionals, older? Is it all over the place?
It is all over the place. That's the thing, is that rec therapy, there's so many different avenues that you can, and different populations that you can work with. Like I said, there's a lot of rec therapists in long-term care homes. Like, it's becoming a big thing. There's so many long-term care homes, and then as our baby boomers start to get older, there's going to be even more. Right. So the rec therapy teams in those spaces are large. Like they're 25, 30 people taking care of all these people, bringing in that recreation for them and their leisure. But there's also a lot of rec therapies in hospitals. St. Joe's in the mood disorders clinic, and in the forensics unit there, rec therapy is really prevalent over there. And then there are rec therapists that work a lot with kids too. Actually, in the rec therapy program that I took at Mohawk, we do a camp experience. So that's built into the semester. First year you go up, it's up in Muskoka, and it's called Campfire Circle. And it is a camp that's run throughout the summer for children going through chemotherapy. So these kids can actually, and I say kids, but young kids up to adolescents and high school kids, they can get their chemo treatments and all of their medical needs taken care of at this camp, so they can go and attend a summer camp.
Wow.
Right. Great. So it's really great. So we go up there, and there's no kids there when we go, but we learn about the camp. And we do a bunch of experimental things and just outdoor learning and a lot of team building exercises and stuff for rec therapy. But a lot of people from my program have actually volunteered at that camp. So there is opportunity to work in the rec field with children.
Sure.
Cool.
And adolescents. So yeah, it's across the board. It really is. It's across the board.
Now, what's the average, maybe you don't know yet, obviously going into your graduating very soon, which congratulations. Yeah. Do you know the average of the income that could be for a recreational therapist?
Yeah, and again, that varies as well. It depends where you're working. It varies between 35 to 65, 70. You tend to make more in larger places like hospitals and those types of places. But if you're just volunteering your time, or you're working with kids, or you're working part-time, because a lot of rec therapy jobs are also part-time too. So it really kind of depends where you work. But that's kind of the range that it goes in.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now I know also you mentioned you are a content creator.
I am
So,
on the side.
Yeah, a little side hustle.
A little side
Love it,
hustle.
love it. Now,
Yeah.
what is, give us a little rundown of what you do for content. How do you make money? How do you monetize it? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So again, I started creating content for my business when I was doing life coaching because that was my main source of marketing. I didn't really market anywhere else, like flyers or anything like that. It was just like social media was the spot where I got all my clients from. So I started creating content based on my life coaching business. So that's where I started creating content. And it was usually just me just kind of coming on and talking. I'd talk about a little topic. I had a blog for a little while too. I would write a blog post each week. So I kind of used that as like my theme for the week. So I'd write a blog post and then I would talk about that over on my social media throughout the week. And it was always just something like how-tos or, some information, some like free life coaching.
Right.
So yeah, and that's what I kind of started. And like I said, when COVID happened and I shut down my business, it kind of switched to more personal. I took my my social media personal, and when I was doing life coaching, I didn't have TikTok because TikTok wasn't a thing then. Like it wasn't a thing. So I just had Instagram, and then it was the like winter right before the March when like COVID happened that TikTok became a thing. I was like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
So I like downloaded TikTok and I kind of watched a few of them and I was like, oh, I don't know, like this is weird. Like I don't know if I can get into this. But then we got locked down and I couldn't go anywhere and I let my coaching clients go and kind of gave that up and I was like, what am I going to do now? So I got into doing TikTok. So that's when I started. I would just watch TikToks and I'd find things that were trending and then I would just make videos myself. And then I had a few videos go viral and got a whole bunch of followers and people were like, oh, when are you gonna put out more videos? I'm like, I don't know. So then I just started making more videos and I really enjoyed it too. It was like a time killer. It's kind of started as just like something to keep me busy. And it still is that kind of for me. Like it's like a hobby. It's something that I really truly like to do. I have fun with it. Yeah, so that's kind of how I got into.
And what's your following on TikTok?
So I have right now I think I have just over 44,000 followers on TikTok. Yeah. It's I know, it's weird. Like I'll go out with my friends sometimes like she's TikTok famous. I'm like, I'm not, you guys. Like I am not TikTok famous. Like compared to like, big creators and stuff like that. It's a lot different.
Hey, but you're on your way up. I mean,
right? I mean, it can only go up.
I think we're about to hit 200 soon.
Yeah.
Like 200.
Not 200K.
Yeah. And I've, to be honest, I've never really like cared that much about it. Like I don't try and gear my content to anyone's needs or what they want. Like if I have a video that goes viral, sometimes I'm like, this is the video that people like, and that's what's went viral out of everything that I've made this week. That's the one. I'm surprised sometimes about the ones that go viral. But yeah, I don't base my content on that. Like if a video goes viral, I don't make more videos like that one.
Right.
I mean, just to get more followers or to get more views. Like I just make the content that I like to make, that I have fun making. And some of my videos I do only get like 250 views or like 500 views. And I'm like, meh. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Like
there's always tomorrow.
Yeah. Like it
I
does,
like it.
it's and then when I get one that goes viral, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like I just made one recently, and it's at like 5 million views right now. And
Wow.
I'm like, what? Like why? Like I don't know. And it's relatable, and I get it. And TikTok, the TikTok algorithm is really good at pushing those videos out to people on their For You page, of like what. Like, I don't know if you guys are on TikTok, right? And you scroll and stuff. Like, doesn't it feel like when you're scrolling on TikTok, you're like, how do they know?
Yeah, it's almost like every viral video
Yeah,
going
like,
out.
how do you know what I'm going through right now, right? Like, the algorithms are really good on
They
TikTok.
are.
So, yeah, when I make a video, I think it just pushes it out to the people that want to see it and that are going to, respond to it. And then, you have a video that goes viral and you get, like, 100 followers and in a couple days, and it's just like I log in, I'm like, whoa, like okay,
Yeah, sure.
But yeah.
So if you had like the opportunity to like go full out like content creator and like go all in on that type of thing, like would you do that, or would you keep still do the recreational therapy hand in hand? Or
That's a really good question.
Yeah,
That is a really good question, and I've thought about that. because I get a lot of requests in my DMs to be like brand ambassador and like ads, you know what I mean? Like how a lot of content creators do make a lot of their money, right? They partner up with brands and then they mention the brands in their videos and they sell the stuff. And I don't know if I could do that. It would have to be like I wouldn't just like pick a brand and be like, oh, I use this thing. Like I would have to use it all the time.
Right.
Like for me, I love thrifting. So like thrifting's a like really exciting thing for me. Like that's where I shop do most of my shopping is thrifting.
Sure.
And one of the thrift stores in Hamilton, they have a brand, like they have an ambassador program. So when you like wear their stuff and you can like mention it, like I'm like, oh, I would be a part of that. Like I would do that, and then I would get discounts when I like go to do my thrifting and stuff like that, right?
What's the name of it?
It's Plato's Closet.
Okay.
Okay.
I know about
Yeah,
Plato's
Yeah,
Closet.
there's a few locations around here.
Sure. So if you're listening, Plato's Closet,
right?
hit up
Yeah.
I've
Victoria.
asked them. They had a brand thing come out, and I was too busy at the time to take anything on. I was like in school and stuff. But I'm like, oh, and I asked them recently when I was like, are you guys doing the ambassador thing? Because like everything I wear is thrifted. Like
Sure.
almost everything that I wear, I thrift.
Mhm.
So, and it's usually from there. So I'm like, you guys could get a lot of like, like let's do this thing, But yeah, no, I don't know if I would do it full time. I would have to get like really big, I feel,
Sure.
to like really give up my like rec therapy thing.
Yeah.
But like it's really hard to monetize TikTok in Canada.
Right.
In the States, they have what's called the Creator Fund, and you can get views or you get money based on how many views you get just on TikTok. It's kind of like YouTube, right?
Sure.
Based on your views. But in Canada, you can't monetize it that way because it's for whatever reason. I'm not sure why it's like that, which is unfortunate because, like my video that has 5 million views right now, I'm not making any money on that because I can't, there's just not that platform. There's not that opportunity to do that on TikTok. There are some other opportunities. Like I have used Big Tiny Sound, it's called. And if you have to have a certain amount of followers to sign up and be approved as a creator on this a website. And if you use their sounds on TikTok, so they have a list of sounds, and if you use their sounds on TikTok and then you get a certain amount of views on it, then you can get paid out from them. So there are some third-party avenues that you can go out, and I have made money off of my content that way. But yeah, other than that, it's really just like a hobby thing right now.
Now, do you make anything like from Instagram or any?
No, again, Instagram, like you can't get anything based on views or followers or anything. You have to reach a certain threshold to where you get, your blue check mark and all that stuff. And I'm definitely not in that caliber.
Right.
Like a lot of my followers on Instagram have come from TikTok because I have the two links. So when people see me on TikTok, they come over to Instagram, especially if people want to try and send me a DM or chat to me about something. You can't really do that on TikTok. It's tough to, like, you can't send a message unless you're like both following each other.
Sure.
So I link my Instagram if people want to try and, talk to me about something or reach out to me for whatever reason. But yeah.
Cool. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
Wow, so you definitely got a lot of stuff coming. I mean, I was just say the recreational therapy, growing your social media, all that stuff. Cal, anything you want to?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all so cool, like the content creation and whatnot, and obviously GJ and I, like, we're trying to get into that space and whatnot, and obviously it's a very slow kind of go, it takes a lot of time to kind of build it up and all that kind of stuff, and I think people are so focused on like the now, like people want the results today, but it's really the long game, over the next like 5 to 10 years, like where you're going to be obviously going into rec therapy and working full time and creating the content that you do. Like I see, if you're as active as you are today, like in 10 years from now, there's definitely a possibility that you could be this, really, really.
Like, and I think that's the biggest thing with content creation is you have to be consistent. Like you just be consistent and post what you like to do. I was giving advice recently. I was out with some friends and there was this young guy and he was like, I want to be a content creator. I want to be an influencer. And, he was showing me some of the videos that he was making. He's like, they're not getting any views. I'm like, yeah, but do you like to make this content? And he's like, well, not really. I'm like, well, what content do you want to make? And he was telling me, I was like, then make that.
Right.
Like make that content that you want to make so that when it goes viral, you're going to want to continue to do it. Like I've been on TikTok now for like 3 years. Like I didn't get those 44,000 followers overnight. right? Like it took time. It took time for me to kind of build that following and to stay consistent. So yeah, if you kind of start creating content, doing something that just to get the views or just to get the followers, like you're not going to be able to keep that up because you're not going to like it.
Yeah.
Like don't do it for that reason, you know?
Exactly. And just think of the position you're going to be, 2 to 3 years from now or 5 years from now, if that TikTok or Instagram is and continue growing, then you decide to be, let's say, a life coach again.
Yeah.
Right. And then you will have online courses instead of being more one-to-one.
Yep.
Yeah. More, definitely a far better position than somebody who just wants to just say, hey, I'm a life coach or whatever. Right.
And that's why I haven't really shied away from my Instagram. Like I said, I truly enjoy it. I like social media in general. And that's why I just continued to make content that I like to make. More personal based. It started as a business and it might merge back into that at one point again too. Maybe my content might turn all rec therapy once I, get more into it. Maybe, my content might be more rec therapy geared or whatever. Right. Or it kind of, my social media changes as I change.
Right.
What I put out, my social media is for me. If you like it and you watch it, great. That's awesome. But it's really there for me and it's my space. And you're coming into my space and consuming that content and you like it, awesome. But I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and it's that's what it is.
And I think that's really what it comes down to. A lot of people start like whatever they enjoyed, and then once they get a following, then it's whatever the following wants, and then you start catering to that following. And it's just really good because in a sense, like you're not enjoying what you want to do because you might want to pivot in your life, and if you're continuing to do the same thing over and over, and then let's say a year from now, like not to say you'd get boring, but let's say your content is so repetitive that it's like, okay, I've watched you 100 times, on to the next person. Like I think as a content creator, you have to pivot and change every, I'd say a couple months, but years, right? Yeah,
for sure. You do. You definitely have to kind of change and definitely don't change on other people's account and don't change because, so-and-so says like, oh, you should make this or that. Like do what you want. Do what you want to do. Do what makes you feel like happy. Create the content you want to make and it'll work out. And yeah.
Cool. I think it's like, they say like, 10,000 hours before you become like, really good at something.
Yeah.
And just kind of seeking something with long enough for you to become like the master of that thing, right? And recreational therapy, I mean, you've already done the coaching and all that kind of stuff, and you mix that in with the content creation, and obviously, us doing the podcast and all that kind of stuff. It all takes time, and kind of building that up and becoming the best at it. And once you become the best at something, eventually people are just going to be knocking on the door and being like, you know what, like you're incredible, like, you're the best I've seen. And, I think there's a really cool opportunity for us to kind of work together and collab and all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. I've done so many collaborations over the last, like, since doing my life coaching business. And, I get tons of people in my DMs all the time being like, hey, can I offer you this free service? And, like, can we work together? And I'm like, yeah, sure. If it's something that I want to do. Again, like I said, I don't accept everything that comes through my door. I get a lot of things in my DMs all the time asking me to do this and do that, and I'm just like, no, like, I do what I want to do. What I look at the person, and it's just what I want to do.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast.
You're welcome.
Must have done something.
I know.
Okay.
No,
like,
you know what?
GG with the edit.
Like I said, I love podcasts. I don't really listen to podcasts, but I watch them. I love the little like shorts and stuff.
Right.
They suck me right in. It's on TikTok and Instagram and stuff. I love them, and I think there's like great value in them. So thanks for asking me.
Yeah.
When you popped up, and I was like, who are these guys?
This isn't a paid gig.
I was like, who are these guys? Let's see what they're about.
Well, appreciate it. We'll end the podcast, but we always love to end the podcast asking, if you could give yourself 20-year-old advice, what would it be?
If I could give my 20-year-old self advice, what would it be? Don't worry about what other people think. Do what you love. Just be true to yourself, and don't worry about what anybody thinks. Be yourself.
Cool. And do you have any goals for yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh man, so many. No, I do. Like with rec therapy, it's something that I want to get into. I'm really, I'm just graduating, so I'm kind of feeling it out. I've been doing a couple job interviews. I really want to get into mental health. Working at Joseph Brandt for my placement while I was in school really just kind of solidified for me that I love that population. I love working with people going through mental health struggles. So that's definitely a space that I'm trying to get into right now. So, anybody's watching who's got any hookups at St. Joe's or any other and you want a rec therapist, I'm your girl.
That's right.
So if we're going to plug like your Instagram, so we'll leave that in the comments for
Yeah,
everyone to check it out.
definitely,
What is your handle on Instagram?
So it's victoria.ryan.xo, and it's the same on TikTok and Instagram.
So like,
just my name.
Follow, comment, say, say on the podcast, all that kind of stuff. So
I'd love that.
super awesome.
Cool. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Victoria. For
You're
everyone who's
welcome.
listening or watching, if you like today's episode, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you enjoy with the content, please hit subscribe and hit the notifications so you don't miss out on any future content. Thank you so much to everyone for watching, and we will catch you in the next episode. See you guys.
Bye.
Unreal. Great job.
Wow.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Was it
That was
good?